pull out weeks ago if I was going to pull out, you know. I've fought many times with injuries, as you know. I've fought with injured shoulder before, broken hand, broken ribs,
Daniel was ill. He looked incredible. I wasn't here in training last night, so that's strange. He's ill. He can't fight if he's ill. Okay, health has to come first.
Dillian Whyte announces retirement from boxing before Moses Itauma fight, citing financial strain and management uncertainty. Whitey pulled out weeks before the bout. Fans were stunned as the veteran heavyweight chose retirement over risking it all against the rising force, Moses Itauma.
Case I had pulled out 3-4 weeks ago when I knew that obviously the manager position was going to be in place. You know, obviously my camps cost a lot of money. My training camps cost me a lot of money, you know what I mean? So I had to just pull out early to save all of this and money and stuff. I got like a lot of people in camp that works for me and look out.
Eddie Hearn doesn't even sound convinced by Dillian Whyte's retirement. His words carry sarcasm, hinting that Whyte's pulling a cheap stunt just to squeeze money later, instead of facing Moses Itauma like a man. Whyte's taken the coward's way out, hiding behind retirement to avoid humiliation.
British fight fans, because we've got a chance to make the biggest fight in boxing, but you know, if that is the last we see of him, he's had a great career. I doubt it. But, you know, it's always best to come into retirement to make sure someone pays you to come out of retirement. But if that's his lot, much respect to him and wish him all the best.
And Eddie wasn't done yet. His next words hit Whyte where it hurts most, his declining body. Eddie Hearn exposes the truth. Whitey isn't retiring by choice, he's getting forced out. His chin's gone, his speed's vanished, and the hunger's dead. Instead of standing toe-to-toe with Moses, Whitey chose to vanish like a washed-up fraud. This ain't retirement, it's escape.
It's time to retire when your physicalities change. Your punch resistance isn't as good. You know, maybe you're a bit slower. Maybe your desire's not there. You know what's it?
Johnny Nelson exposes the whole game. Dillian Whyte's retirement isn't emotional, it's financial. Hearn saw it coming, a fake exit just to raise his paycheck. Whyte didn't just duck Moses Itauma, he tried to turn his cowardice into currency. That's not retirement, that's desperation in disguise.
I think actually Eddie Hearn had kind of called that a couple of weeks before. He said he's probably going to try and retire to bump the purse bid up.
Yeah, I mean.
And just when you thought it couldn't get more pathetic, Carl Froch weighs in with his brutal take. Carl Froch doesn't hold back, even he's confused whether YT's running away for money or truly finished. Either way, Froch knows one thing, this exit reeks of manipulation. YT's retirement isn't heroic, it's a headline stunt because he couldn't handle the storm that Moses was about to bring.
This retirement, I'm not sure if it's genuine. Maybe it is, but I don't know what he's going to do now he's retired. But the fact of the matter is, he's announced his retirement, he's either trying to leverage for more money, putting himself in position, so he's got people begging for him to come out, or he's actually genuinely going to retire. Not sure what he's going to do.
Duke McKenzie sees Dillian Whyte's decision as more than just unprofessional. He calls it a disgrace. According to Duke, this isn't just a retirement, it's a betrayal to boxing, to fans, and even to Whyte's own family legacy. He didn't go out on his shield. He didn't fight until the last bell. He backed out, and in doing so, he spit on everything he built his name on. The timing of it, just as the Moses Itauma fight loomed, makes it even worse. Instead of handing the torch with honor, Whyte dumped it and ran. Duke calls it a slap in the face to his father, a man who probably stood ringside believing in his son's toughness. That belief shattered in seconds. This wasn't just a bad call, it was a coward's retreat disguised as a career decision. And no matter how many excuses YD makes, Duke's words echo loud. Real fighters don't run.
It's just wrong in my book. You know what? I also think that, you know, what he's done is it's like a slap in the face for his dad.
And if that wasn't painful enough, Johnny Nelson steps in with an even harsher reality check. Johnny Nelson doesn't sugarcoat a thing. He flat out calls Dillian Whyte the boy who cried wolf. This isn't the first time Whyte has played the I'm done card, and let's be honest, fans are exhausted. Nelson speaks for the people who used to believe in Whyte. Each time the pressure builds, Whyte disappears behind retirement claims, injury excuses, or failed test rumors. This time Johnny's not buying it, and neither is anyone else. What makes it worse is that the timing couldn't be more obvious. Just as a hungry young lion named Moses Itauma was ready to take his head off, Nelson sees through the smokescreen. This isn't retirement, it's fear. Whyte's reputation as a dangerous heavyweight is now reduced to a punchline. The man who once screamed anyone anywhere is now hiding behind statements. Johnny's message is clear: if you can't walk the walk, then don't talk the talk, and Dillian's all talk now.
He's not going to do it again. We've seen it before, and I'm quite sure the common word's going to be the boy that cried wolf. I think in reality,
Carl Froch picks it up from there, and his frustration is practically boiling over. Carl Froch has had enough. He doesn't see Dillian Whyte's retirement as a sincere exit. He sees it as a cheap, attention-hungry move. Froch doesn't beat around the bush. According to him, Whyte isn't stepping down with dignity. He's orchestrating drama to stay in headlines and maybe squeeze more money out of the game. Whether it's for a comeback deal or just ego maintenance, Froch is calling it out for what it is: exhausting and fake. And you know it's bad when a veteran like Froch says, "I'm sick of it." Whyte's antics have gone from frustrating to pathetic. This isn't the behavior of a warrior, it's the behavior of a man afraid of being forgotten. He had a real chance to test himself against Moses Itauma, a rising powerhouse, and instead of stepping up, he checked out. Froch's tone says it all. Dillian Whyte is no longer a fighter, he's a walking circus act.
He is trying to get attention, he's trying to stay in the limelight and keep in the public eye, or is he trying to do it as a negotiating ploy, so when he's retired it's going to cost a bit more money to get him out of retirement? But either way, if I'm totally honest, I'm getting fucking sick.
But among all this roasting, Spencer Oliver offers a slightly different, but still revealing, angle. Spencer Oliver gives credit where it's due, but even in his praise, there's an undertone of sadness. Yes, Dillian Whyte brought drama, electricity, and hype to every press conference. Yes, he knew how to sell a fight, but where's that fire now? Instead of going out in glory, Whyte chose to vanish in disgrace. Spencer calls him a serious talent, and he was, but talent means nothing without courage. And walking away from the biggest fight of your career against a teenage monster like Moses Itauma isn't a retirement, it's a retreat. The guy who once delivered fireworks in the ring has now become the biggest disappointment outside of it. Fans won't remember his big personality, they'll remember his final act. No gloves, no heart, no fight. Even Oliver, trying to sound respectful, can't hide the reality. Whyte quit when it counted most, and that's what will define him.
Just that he's a big personality and he sells fights so well and he's a big character, and the press conferences, the build-up to fights, and what he delivers in the ring. The guy is a serious talent, and he'll be missed when he's retired, that is for sure.
Colin Hart takes the gloves off. He goes straight to the issue everyone's whispering about, the failed drug tests. Dillian Whyte hasn't just lost fan respect, he's lost credibility. This isn't about speculation anymore, it's about patterns. 1 failed test is unfortunate, 2 is suspicious. It's suspicious. 3? That's a career built on lies. Hart doesn't fully condemn him, but the implication is brutal. It's bad for Whyte, and even worse for boxing. The sport that gave him fame is now tainted by his scandals, and his legacy will forever be questioned. What was real? What was fake? Did he win clean? We may never know, but the doubt will follow him forever. And when you add that on top of his sudden retirement, right before facing a hungry, clean fighter like Moses Itauma, it all becomes clear. Whyte didn't just run, he ran with a trail of smoke behind him. Hart's final words feel like a warning. Dillian Whyte didn't retire, he collapsed.
Don't forget, he's been failed 2 previous drug tests. The second one, he was exonerated. So let's not jump to conclusions. But it's not good for him, and it's not good for the sport.
Dave Coldwell captures what every true boxing fan thought the moment news dropped: cheating bastard. Harsh? Maybe? Honest? Absolutely. The rage, the disgust, the disappointment, it all came pouring out. Whyte, a man once seen as a gritty brawler who'd take on anyone, now reduced to a shady figure dodging fights and failing tests. Coldwell admits we don't yet know the full details, but the damage is already done. When a fighter with a history of failed tests once again backs out on the eve of a mega showdown, it's impossible not to feel cheated. This wasn't just a duck, it's looking like a dirty one. Whyte's legacy has now been stained beyond repair.
Fucking hell, cheating bastard. You know, that's the initial reaction. Whether it's a first fail or a third fail, that's the initial reaction. Your gut reaction is, but then obviously we don't know what he's failed for yet, and we don't know what it is. But then when it's somebody that's failed 3 times, or this is the 3rd adverse reaction.
Now let's flip the script from disgrace to dominance. Tony Bellew steps in to talk about Moses Itauma's rise. Tony Bellew gives Moses Itauma the flowers he deserves. He doesn't compare him to journeyman, he compares him to Usyk. That alone speaks volumes. Bellew recognizes that Moses may not yet be as polished as the pound-for-pound king, but the foundation is clearly there. Footwork, ring IQ, movement, fearlessness. Moses has it all. Bellew calls him unbelievable, outstanding, and the future. This isn't hype, this is real recognition from a man who knows the battlefield. And the best part? Bellew only has one concern, Moses' size. But then he reminds everyone Alexander Usyk defied size logic, and Moses can too. What Bellew is really saying is that boxing is shifting. It's no longer about giants, it's about brains, timing, and skill. And Moses Itauma embodies all 3. With Whyte out of the way, Moses doesn't just move forward, he steps into the spotlight as Britain's most dangerous prospect. Bellew's praise solidifies one thing: the heavyweight division better watch out.
But he's the next in line. I think he's the future of the heavyweight division. I think he's an outstanding talent. I think he's got a good team around him, Ben Davison and Lee Wiley. Wiley is the brains that study everything, and they use what we call video analysis now in boxing. They're the one team that you.
Derek Chisora never filters his mouth, and thank God for that. His blunt truth is exactly what the boxing world needed. He lays it out clearly. Facing Moses Itauma isn't just a challenge, it's borderline suicide for anyone unprepared. Dillian Whyte, E. Chisora suggests he had 0 chance from the start. When Derek says you've got more chance winning the lottery than beating Moses, he's not joking, he's warning. At just 24, Moses is already trained by elite-level coaches, carries knockout power, and has ice in his veins. Chisora isn't just praising talent, he's pointing out the gap between hype and real danger. Dillian Whyte probably felt that too, deep down, which explains why he never showed up. Fighters like Moses don't come around often, and guys like YT don't last long when they do. Chisora's words seal the deal. Moses isn't just a future star, he's the kind of fighter that makes veterans rethink their careers. Exactly what YT did.
A guy who's 24 years old, who's got his always faculties right, getting trained by one of the best trainers in the United Kingdom, and then mate, it's like you got more chance of winning the lottery than you beating that Moses Itauma, let's be honest.
Dillian Whyte's retirement isn't just a headline, it's a humiliation that shook the boxing world. A man who once roared for war against the best folded under the pressure of facing a 19-year-old phenom, Moses Itauma. From Eddie Hearn's sarcasm to Carl Froch's frustration, and from Johnny Nelson's blunt comparisons to Duke McKenzie's personal disappointment, every voice in boxing has echoed one truth: Whyte didn't retire, he ran. He ducked, delayed, and disappeared behind a mask of excuses. With drug test clouds, credibility issues, and emotional manipulation all adding fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, Moses didn't say a word because he didn't need to. The silence of a disciplined destroyer says more than the noise of a collapsing veteran. As Tony Bellew said, he's the future. As Chisora brutally pointed out, you'd have a better chance winning the lottery than beating him. And when even respected figures like Colin Hart link YT's career to repeated failed tests, you know this isn't just the end of a fighter, it's the end of a facade. Moses Itauma is the storm the heavyweight division wasn't ready for, and YT knew it. Now it's time to shift the spotlight. The old guard has fallen, and the new era has begun. No more false hype, no more fake drama, just real talent and real fights. So if you're ready to witness the rise of a future world champion, make sure you're locked in. Subscribe now, turn on the notifications, and don't miss a single moment of Moses Itauma's journey to the top. This isn't just boxing, this is the takeover, and trust us, it's only just getting started.